Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. So I'm on Scott Selections here for Wednesday, February 8th. For again today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We had a loss in college basketball with Chicago State -4 and -110 on DraftKings. Looked pretty good early as Chicago State ended up leading by 5 with about 9.5 minutes to go or so. And then Chicago State forgot how to score. They scored 8 points in the final 9 minutes and 18 seconds. It was actually 5 points, and they hit a garbage time three-pointer with about 5 seconds left. So in a 9 minute stretch, they scored 5 points against one of the worst defenses in the country, and Chicago State fell apart as they lost outright. So pretty unfortunate there, but we'll look for a winner here on Wednesday. We're actually going to look ahead to the Super Bowl taking place on Sunday between the Chiefs and the Eagles. And for this match, we're going to take a player prop. It's going to be on Eagles running back Kenneth Gainwell. We're going to take him over 4.5 carries at -150 on Bet Online. Time recording of 9 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. Couple reasons why we're going to go with Gainwell over 4.5 carries. First reason, look at the actual recent form. Gainwell's been an increasingly vital part of this offense as he has had at least 5 carries in each of the last 3 games. He's also had at least 12 carries in each of the last 2 games. And to break it down into offensive snap percentage, he has definitely gotten a bigger role as the season has progressed, as he has been on the field for at least 37% of the offensive snaps in each of the last 2 games. Now, I know that some of that has to do with the fact that the Eagles have been winning in dominant fashion as they easily took care of the Giants and the Niners, so game flow definitely helped. However, he has been very productive in his boosted snap percentage, as he has had at least 35 rushing yards in each of the last 3 games, including divisional round. So the point is, Gainwell has been a very effective running back recently, and I think the Eagles might lean on him a bit more. 4.5 just sounds incredibly low for a carry total for a backup running back, for a team that loves to run the ball, and for a guy that's actually had some very good games lately for this team. But to look at the other factors here, I mentioned how the Eagles love to run the ball. I have to bring up the fact that the Eagles actually lead the league in rushing attempts per game with 33.3. They're a very physical team. We know that they definitely love to really impose their will on the ground, and I think they should be trying to do that once again in this matchup. But if the Eagles end up with 33 carries or so, Sanders, I know, was a Pro Bowler, but based on his snap percentage, I think he should probably end up with around 11 or 12 carries, and I think that Gainwell should probably find his way to get to at least 6 or 7. But I do think you're going to end up seeing Gainwell get a decent amount of work in this game based on how well he's been running lately for the last couple of weeks. Plus, the Chiefs, in terms of opponent rushing yards per game, have been decent. However, in terms of opponent yards per rush, they really have not been. And I think the Chiefs, as a result, are a bit of an overrated rush defense. Kansas City's allowing 4.5 yards per carry, which ranks tied for 19th in the league. So Kansas City, pretty mediocre run defense, and I do think they should be a bit vulnerable here against the best rushing attack in the entire league. And especially since Jalen Hurts has really not looked the same with his arm ever since he returned from the shoulder injury. And as a result, Philly's really leaned into the ground game all playoffs long. But you're looking at the game plan for Philly, and I'm not sure how healthy Hurts is going to look with the shoulder injury, but he definitely has not looked that great from the pocket. In the Giants game, he looked pretty good early on in the first quarter. Then they ran the ball basically for 3 straight quarters. Then against the Niners, he had the touchdown drive to start the game, which was aided by that fourth down, quote unquote, completion to Devontae Smith, which hit the ground, but they didn't review it. And then he basically did nothing for the rest of the game in the air. Just didn't look that sharp. And I am kind of concerned if Hurts is definitely dealing with a more serious shoulder injury than people think. But the point is, I think Philly might lean into the ground game a bit more. I mentioned Kansas City's run defense and how it is a little bit overrated and pretty average if you want to just grade it as a whole. But I think that Philly might really kind of game plan around Hurts' shoulder injury. They'll look more towards the ground game. And as a result, you might get Gainwell getting at least 5 carries pretty easily. But once again, for a guy that's pretty much been very, very solid on the ground for this team for the entire playoffs, 4.5 carries is a very low number. And I think -150, despite how juicy it might be, is actually a pretty good deal. I think it should be higher. And I think closer to game time, you will be seeing this number approach 5.5 or 6.5, which is why I'm going to take this now. So play that once again here for Wednesday, February 8th. Is going to be on Eagles running back Kenneth Gainwell over 4.5 carries in the Super Bowl at -150 on a Bet Online. Bye.